Yeah, I'm whistling at you. We at Whistle FM are always looking for new volunteers. Ever thought of producing a show, or hosting your own show, or maybe just helping out around the office? We could use your help, and you could become part of your community radio station. Drop us a line at admin@whistleradio.com or come by the station. We are located in the basement of Stouffville Fine Furniture. See you soon.
Here we are. We're on Fresh Waves. We're live in the studios of Whistle FM. If you're listening to a podcast or if you're listening on Sundays, we're not live. This show runs every Wednesday from 10 till noon. We have a multitude of fascinating, fabulous, wonderful guests. Jay, how can people get a hold of us if they'd like to ask us a question?
Well, you can go on our Facebook page, Fresh Waves on Whistle FM, or also on Twitter at Fresh Waves Radio, and go to the website freshwaves.ca.
Perfect. And we always have the podcasts on freshwaves.ca, so you can go there and listen to the podcasts and share the podcasts with friends. If you have a friend that says, you know, I really want to get some extra little home decor, tell them to check out this show, because they might find some decorating ideas, or they might find a new spot where they can go and look at some of this fabulous stuff. Now, let's get back to Cory Smith here. Cory, you've opened a little retail store. It seems a whole heck of a lot different than catering for television shows and movies and stuff like that. So what, you were, I'm going to give you a scenario. You were working on the set of a film and saw a room decorated and thought, I want to sell that stuff. Okay, there's got to be a segue here somewhere in your life. How does the segue in your life happen?
There's no real segue. It's just of necessity, because like I mentioned earlier, I was away a lot from home.
Yeah.
And
that industry's like that. And when there's a show on and it's running, you don't have any leeway.
Yeah.
It starts at a time, it ends at a time, and they're usually 12-hour days, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, the studio stuff that I did, the TV shows, it was great. It was basically Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
Well,
and
that's good.
Pull up, serve lunch, and I'm gone, because I have to go back to the kitchen and prep for the next day, kind of thing.
Right.
But when we did the movies with the union, basically day one could be 6 o'clock in the morning when you're feeding the crew, and then we do lunch/dinner. And so union rules, they need 12 hours between from when they stop to finish. So if they don't stop till 2 in the morning, they don't start till 2 in the afternoon. So that's their breakfast, and then so on and so on and so on, you know. So my sleep pattern was just destroyed. So I'd be sleeping.
Yeah, plus how would you know if they were working till 2 in the morning?
Well, I would get a call sheet when they're done, and that tells me where I have to be the next day, what time. And so I'm literally sleeping with the phone to hear the email that I get where I have to be the next day. So I literally never knew where I was going to be. You know, I couldn't plan anything. So
that is stressful.
It was great money. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I love my family more, so that's why I got out of it.
I can understand that. I do believe in a lot of respects, not necessarily the actors, but the people that surround that industry, the support team for that industry. It's a young man's game, because boy, oh boy, the hours are grueling. And if you're doing locations or something like that, it's all the pre-work before. But then it's the work as you're doing it, and you have to arrive before everyone else does. They've got a 6 o'clock call. That means the pretty wagons and everything, makeup and stuff is there at 5 in the morning to make sure it's running. And if you've got a location and you've only got it for one day, you max out that day.
That's right. Well, that's the thing, because if we had to be on set for, say, the first people that get there, the people that start the generators and do all that stuff, that's that one group of people. Mm-hmm. Then it's the other crew that have to set up the cameras and everything. Then it's the actual actors. So it's a big long day to feed breakfast, and, but then we got to prep for lunch. So it's, we're there for 10, 12, like I said, 10, 12 hours a day. And then we have to go back and prep for the next day. So we're still going and going and going. But it's a tough industry, but I've always been told, oh, you must have like ketchup in the veins, because I've always gone back to it. Like I've worked in restaurants, and I've went to the management level or the corporate level with restaurants, But I miss the cooking. I miss the cooking aspect of it.
Oh, I think you should go on one of those cooking shows, and you should represent Stouffville now, or even Ballantrae.
Well.
As the next big Canada chef or something.
I have been on a few shows. I don't know if I guess you haven't seen them. But I did try out last year for MasterChef Canada.
Oh, really?
And I did go quite far. But again, with ratings and everything, the producer said, we love you, we love your story, we love your food, but it's just not what we're looking for this season. I'm like, what do you mean? It's a cooking show, not a person show. So it opened my eyes to the cooking show. Like I was, back in 2009, I was on a show called Chef Worthy for W Network, and I won that one. I mean, it's Canadian, so we didn't get $1 million. So I got an amazing
set of Ginsu knives.
No, KitchenAid. It was like a 15 set pot set, and I still have it today, and they're amazing.
Oh, I bet.
Like they're don't get me wrong, I loved it.
Yeah,
but it's not like the ones you see in the States where you get your own restaurant and a brand new car and
they redo your restaurant for you and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I've been on a couple of shows, and I've done pretty well with that. And
so what do you cook if you go on a show like that? What are you cooking? It can't be hot dogs and hamburgers. It has to be something substantial.
I do make a pretty good hamburger.
I bet you do.
Everyone, see, I make the food the way I like it.
Okay, so how would you make a hamburger? I want to hear it.
Well, okay, so...
We're not giving away your secrets. We're just...
All right. That's okay. So, yeah, I wouldn't tell you how much of each ingredient. So,
okay.
So basically, I make my burgers the way people would probably make a meatloaf.
Okay.
So with eggs, breadcrumbs, onion powder, garlic, because with the breadcrumbs it keeps all the juices in, right? And I see. And because a lot of burgers you make it, you throw in the grill, and the grease all drains out.
Right.
It's dry and horrible.
So just to start at the beginning of the beginning, would you use a medium ground beef or a regular ground beef, something with a little more fat in it so it does hold it together?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit of, yeah. I don't...
like an extra lean doesn't work for a hamburger, does it?
No. I like the fat, gives it flavor. So.
Yeah. And stickability.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got eggs and breadcrumbs and spices.
Eggs, breadcrumbs, spices, yeah. And when I made it, I was doing an event, and it was for the company Nissan, the car company. And I guess he was one of the high-up president or vice president. He's like, this is the best burger I've ever had in my life. And that was the first time someone said that. And I just make it the way I like it, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, I'm onto something here. These are good. So that's the way I made burgers. If I ever did an event with burgers, that's the way I made it. And everyone's like, oh my God, these are the best burgers. So, and I don't smother it with all condiments and that. Because to me, if you have to smother something with condiments, you're not tasting the burger, you're tasting the condiments. I want to taste the meat, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you go to a steak place and they have all those Montreal spices or whatever.
I think that's a bad chef's excuse for how to get the stuff tasting good. Yeah. The meat itself should speak for itself. It's the same with the guacamole. If people start putting too much in a guacamole, the whole point of guacamole is the avocado. Yeah. If you can't taste the avocado, what's the point? Have bruschetta. Yeah.
And that's like lobster. I mean, people eat lobster and they dunk it in the garlic butter, but that's all you taste.
Yeah.
It's odd. I'm not a big lobster fan, and fun fact, way back in I guess the 1600s or whatever, it was considered a poor man's food because it was so abundant, and there was a law that you could not feed lobster more than twice a week to prisoners.
Oh,
there was a law you could.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And now it's like
a delicacy,
creme de la creme kind of thing.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
It's weird. Yeah.
It's all based on supply and demand, isn't it?
Yeah.
If there's too much of it,
fun fact for the day.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Okay, so you've got a great burger happening. What about? I keep seeing these things now, and I will say right off the bat, it's not my cup of tea. But when they actually put cheese in the meat. So the burger cooks with cheese in it. I put onions in mine, but I chop them up really, really fine. I use one of those slap chop things. That's half the fun of it. Because you just think of everybody that you really were annoyed with that day, and you go, and you smack the heck out of this machine thing, and all of a sudden you got all these mashed up onions, and they're perfect to put in the hamburger.
Yeah.
adds a little moisture too, because I don't use breadcrumbs because we have some members of the family who are celiac, so they can't have the breadcrumbs. And I've tried the gluten-free breadcrumbs, and they just aren't very good. It's like cardboard in your burger. Why bother?
No.
So, what do you think of putting all those kinds of...
I don't mind it really. It's just whatever your personal preference is. If you like onions, put onions in. If you don't.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I make it the way I like it.
Right.
If you don't like it, then
make it some other way.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
So when you went on the big cooking show and you're doing the Master Chef or whatever it's called, I don't know the name of it. It doesn't really matter. But you're on some big cooking show. Yeah. What is your feature dish?
So what I did was a maple glazed butter poached salmon.
Wow.
With
that sounds delicious.
I have a picture I'll show you later.
Okay.
But you know what? It's because it's the funniest thing when we went to the auditions. You have 3 minutes to plate, and it seems like a lot.
3 minutes is not a lot.
It's not. And when they say go, that's when your hands start to shake. And my hands were shaking like it was the weirdest thing. So I was fine up until they said go. So I had some stuff that was pre-chopped and everything. I had to plate it in sandwich bags. And for the life of me, I couldn't get them open.
Oh no!
So I'm ripping bags open and trying to get the stuff out. My hands are shaking, and it was so much fun. But I couldn't believe that. I thought, a minute or two, I'll be done. I'll just sit back and watch everybody else. No, it was like 3, 2, and I'm still plating, rushing, getting stuff on the plate. But it was so much fun. I'll probably audition again this year. So
good for you.
Audition should be coming up soon. So
what do you think about the plating thing? I'm going to give you an example. I don't make omelets because I can't be bothered. Because let it flip. Oh, you flip it, it doesn't work. I just make scrambled eggs with stuff in it. And it works fine and everybody likes it. Yeah. I don't make cabbage rolls. Again, roll it, the cabbage breaks, the thing falls out. My mother makes beautiful cabbage rolls. Mom, if you're listening, your cabbage rolls are bar none the best cabbage rolls on the planet. I can't be bothered. I take a casserole dish, I put cabbage on the bottom, then I put my meat mixture, and then another roll of cabbage. And I call it Sloppy Man's Cabbage Rolls because basically it's a cabbage roll casserole, but it works for me. It may not have the pretty factor. How important is the pretty factor? Because it seems like on TV, which I guess is very visual, it's a visual medium, the plating is so important. But even if it looks pretty, if it tastes like crap, who's going to eat it?
Well, in coming from the restaurant industry and doing the TV shows and that, you eat with your eyes first. Like if you see a plate that, oh my God, that looks amazing, or oh my God, what happened there? you're gonna
That's
go
what my scrambled eggs look like. It's like,
you're gonna go
really?
for a plate that looks amazing, right? Because they say you always eat with your eyes, right? I always hear that.
That's the reason nobody wants my scrambled eggs. They taste really good.
There's actually, in culinary school, they have whole semesters of just plating. How to how to plate different items and little swooshes with the sauce, and it's so intense. And even in France, it's 10 times more intense. And they have little dabbers with sauce, and they just dab it on the plate so it looks nice. You can go online, you'll see it all online.
I've seen them actually use those cake decorators to put toppings on a burger. I'm looking at this little flour-like thing of mayonnaise on the burger thinking, seriously? It's a burger. I'm going to take the bun and squish it on the top and go...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying is actually true. But do you not cross that line where it almost looks too pretty to eat? I know my kids are always taking pictures of their meals. If they're out for dinner, I get a picture from my daughter, Robin. It's like, really, Robin, why don't you just eat it? And she says to me, it's almost too pretty to eat. Look at how pretty it is. And little things of chives, and they're all perfectly
That's how they justify the price. Well, look at it. It looks amazing. It's a piece of work, a piece of art.
It's a piece of fish with a baked potato and a piece of chive.
There you go.
Let me go down to my garden and cut you another one. But it does look pretty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does. And I think that's a good point. You do eat first with your eyes.
Yeah. And I think mentally when it tastes better in your head when you see something that looks amazing. Oh my God, that looks so good. Oh, this tastes so good, But if you see a plate of, mashed up whatever, it's like
eggs. Yeah.
Before you even eat it, you're like, oh,
Yeah. Isn't that something? I think you're right. And I've never really thought about it too much, obviously, because of my eggs. All right. It's time to take a little break. And when we get back, we'll wrap up our conversation because it's that time of the day. Things go by so quickly here on Fresh Waves. But we're going to hear a little bit more from Cory when we get back from this quick break. You're listening to Fresh Waves. Stay tuned.
Claudio here with knowledgeflow.ca. If your family has been the victim of cybercrime, cyberbullying, or malicious privacy abuses, you're not alone. It's happening every day and sometimes carries tragic consequences, as we've seen in recent news. What's the solution? Don't internalize it. If it's an urgent issue, call the police immediately. If, however, you would like professional advice, you can confidentially email report@knowledgeflow.ca and get some ideas for dealing with social media, instant messaging, webcams, hacking, identity breaches, etc. Remember to visit knowledgeflow.ca on Facebook and potentially arrange a seminar for your community center, your school, or your Board of Education.
And we're back on Fresh Waves. We've got Cory Smith of Urban Rustic Decor. Now, Cory, we've been talking a lot about the food just because it's that time of the year. It's summertime. This is actually the last day of spring, which means we're right in the middle of barbecuing. Have you got anything kind of little tips about the barbecuing season that you can give people? Because there are classic mistakes. There's the meat that looks like it could probably come up and shake your hand. There's the fish that's so dry you think, really? Was that ever a fish? I mean, just a couple of off the top of your head tips for people with barbecuing season here.
It's dealing with a lot of local butchers. It's pretty fresh.
Yeah.
And you see all these things on TV, documentaries about what supermarkets do to make it look fresh, but it's actually not, and change the dates and whatnot. If you have a local butcher, whether it be for meat, fish, whatever, they can educate you on what's good to cook on the grill and you may have to do a frying pan because it's a lighter fish and it'll just fall apart kind of thing. But I just cook what I like.
Yeah, cook what you like, and don't slop it off with sauces.
Yeah. It's, and a lot of time when we have barbecues, whatever, at home, it's, I suggest if they like, if you want to bring something, that's great. But I'll always let them know because of my, culinary background. I always email out what I'm cooking so they know, right? So
yeah.
A lot of times they'll bring the salads or the side dishes, whatever, and I'll do the main. Mm-hmm. So it's, just find a local butcher and
like the meat merchant across the street here in downtown Stouffville. They're friends of the
go.
Station here, and they have beautiful meats. Now, what about barbecue sauce? It seems like every time I put barbecue sauce on my meat, it burns, and it's all burnt to a crisp on the outside because the sauce burns. Is it something you do at the last minute, or marinate it before and then not have sauce on it?
Yeah, it's all the sugars that are in the sauce that will burn it or caramelize it, as they say in the industry.
Yeah, well, it's caramelized when it's golden. It's burnt when it's black.
yeah. So if it's a tougher meat, definitely marinate overnight. Mm-hmm. I used to have a vacuum sealer, and that's how I'd marinate it with the marinade in it, vacuum seal it, so it gets in there a lot quicker, and then just let it sit overnight in the fridge. But maybe a little bit in the beginning, because it's got to cook. You just leave it on the grill, let it do its work. Usually when people are picking at it, and if it's still sticking to the grill, it's not done. When it's ready to turn or flip, it'll just come right off the grill as easy as pie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just the last few minutes of the cooking time, that's when I put the sauce on, because you don't want to taste the sauce. I'm not a very big saucy person, but sometimes I will. But it'll be like the last minute, just to get that last little bit of flavor into the meat, and Yeah, okay. So, what's new and exciting in your store? Actually, everything is new and exciting in your store because it is a brand new store. Yeah, that's right.
But you've got some big plans coming up. You've got
We, like I mentioned earlier, we have 30 different suppliers and vendors, all from Southern Ontario, some from right around the lake, and they have amazing handcrafted stuff, as well as other things like there's jewelry. I can go down the list, but we'll take up the whole show. But
Yep.
there's a coffee supplier from Thornhill, a great couple. This is their retirement. They were offered to be bought out from larger companies. Like, no, we like going to the craft shows, and this is our thing.
Yeah.
Right? Jewelry, kids book. We have a lady that does antique stuff there, so it's not all as you would, it's like a decor thing. So it could be like an antique or something that's brand new, but it looks rustic. We have a painter there, an artist that does amazing paintings.
I like those bottle cap clocks that look like a bottle cap, but they're a clock.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's something neat. We have a few different ones, and Canada Day coming up. We have a bunch of different Canada Day like mugs and little decor things, and a couple of the clocks that are there with the bottle cap that's got the Canada flag and that. So, but there's clothing, there's jewelry, there's like I said, coffee, air plants, the succulents.
Neat.
And
cookies.
And cookies.
I saw cookies.
Yes.
I can honestly say I saw cookies.
And we're in the it's funny because when I was doing renovations or even past that, people would come in like when we're open and like, oh, you don't sell chocolate anymore?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's been closed for over a year. Sorry. So it's like light bulb goes off. Like all of Linda's molds are still in the back. Like there's 100 different molds. So we were kind of talking back and forth that maybe we'll do a little bit of chocolate. Not as much as she did.
Yeah.
But just to, satisfy those people that come around still looking for chocolate.
Yeah, hint. The chocolate shoes were pretty darned amazing.
Yeah.
They're the best teacher gifts. Because my teacher gift rule is this. If it can't be eaten or if it doesn't die in a week, don't give it to a teacher. There's only so many mugs that say #1 world's best teacher on them that a teacher could ever have. And they can never have a garage sale because they don't want their students coming by and seeing that they're selling off their thing. So if it doesn't die in a week or it can't be eaten, I don't give them to teachers. Or if it's a book that you can give them for their classroom or for the library, that's a good idea too. So yeah.
And we do have books there too.
Yeah, and teacher gifts. That's a great place to go for teacher gifts. And then you're out at the lake and you've got a beautiful scenery, lots of nice vistas, and yeah.
I get to hear the birds in the morning and all the chirp. It's funny. Like there was loons there last week, and a couple days ago there was a couple herons just landing on the dock there, and it's like, oh, it's peaceful. That's my serenity.
Okay, especially first thing in the morning when all the wildlife is out.
Sit there
with
the tea first thing in the morning, just peace and quiet. And the odd car goes by. But then it's like, okay, all right, back to the
drawing board.
Back to the loons and the birds and the chirping and the
Well, we want to wish you the best with your new store. I hope that I hope it's a great success. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. I hope you start catering while you're there. Is that what you're going to do? A little bit, maybe a little bit.
Well, we're not going to do right now. We're not going to do full cooking catering, but we will offer platters. Like, so if you got the family over and you're like, oh my God, there's an extra 5 people, give us a call and we'll whip up a platter with crudité or sandwiches, wraps, salads, fruit trays, that kind of stuff, and just give it about a day or so and come pick it up because she had the chocolate. There was a walk-in fridge, so with my culinary background, I couldn't just let that sit there and not use it. So I'm like, bing, ball goes off, catering. So,
catering would be fun.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not to the extent that I did do before, but we're going to do a little bit of catering as well. So
perfect,
especially with the parks there, the resort parks and that. So it'll be. Everyone's telling me once school's out, it's night and day with about 4,000 or 5,000 people that fill up those parks there, and it's going to be insane. So, knock on wood.
Yeah, we'll see. It's supposed to be a nice summer. So far, so good. I mean, last summer was so rainy and cold. I had people up to the cottage in July, and we spent the whole week in sweatshirts because it was that cold. We did a paddleboard lesson out on the lake in sweatshirts and sweatpants. Anyway, let's hope this summer's not like that.
When you mention that, we do. We're just working on it right now, but we have an area in the back that we're going to do workshops and classes with a lot of our vendors. So if it is a rainy day you can come on over, and there's usually going to be, we haven't started it yet, but once school's out, we should be done by then. We're just doing all the renovating and that. But like one of our vendors, she makes like Harry Potter wands. So the kids come over, paints it up, and put all the little jewels on or whatever. Or we have one of our painters who can do a painting and maybe a wine tasting class or something like that kind of thing. So it's just lots for kids, lots for adults, and there's so many different vendors there. We can offer classes for so many people.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So if it's a rainy day, check us out online, and we'll be posting on Facebook there what's happening and that kind of stuff. So
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate having you here and all of your expertise. We're looking forward to that store and some catering, and yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, Musselman's Lake is a really nice area.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, good luck with it. I hope it works well for you.
Thank you. So do I.
Jason, thanks for all your help behind the board today. Thanks to Ivan Harris for all that he does here at the station. Thanks for Reese's Market and Bakery for providing the muffins in the studio this morning. And of course, the beautiful strawberries. I love strawberry season. Can't tell you how much I love strawberry season. Never met a strawberry I didn't like.
Same here.
There you go. Do stay tuned to other great programming on Whistle FM today and next week on Fresh Waves. We have an amazing show. We have a woman coming on the show who has developed a loom that makes the plastic mats from milk bags that are sent to India and Africa so that children don't have to sleep on dirt floors. And when you see the map, because we'll have some pictures on our website, on freshwaves.ca. When you see the mats, you'll think, wow, that's a nice mat for a kid. Keep in mind that most of the families who get these mats don't use them as one body sleeping the length of the mat. They turn them sideways, and 4 or 5 people will share the mat so that their shoulders and torsos off the ground and their feet are still in the dirt. So, we are very fortunate here in Canada, and it's really nice that we can be using milk bags that would normally be filling a land site to end up helping these kids who live in far-off places. And, some of the stuff that she does, making bags and beach bags and briefcases out of plastic bags as well. And who knows where this endeavor will take us, but we'll find out all about it next week on Fresh Waves. Big shout out going out to Christine Stewart for all the work that she's doing in and around the community with Community Character Matters, or Character Community Association of York Region.
That's right, you got it.
And they're doing social justice programs that Orchard Park was fortunate enough to have a couple weeks ago, and we hope to be hearing more about that in the future as well. Do check out our podcasts on freshwaves.ca, where you can listen to all the past episodes of Fresh Waves, and even last week's interview where we talked with Dave Booth about all that he's done, and we played some crazy good music last week. So thanks again for listening to Fresh Waves. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll catch you again next time.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days are happy and free. These days are share them with me. Goodbye, gray sky, hello blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. Feels so right, it can't be wrong. Rocking and rolling all week long. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. Saturday, what a day. Grooving all week with you. These days are ours. Share them with me. These days are happy and free. These happy days are yours and mine. These happy days are yours and mine. Happy days.
You've been listening to Fresh Waves, a Whistle FM production. I'm your host, Brenda Masson, and our technical producer is Jason Rumball. Tune in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. for Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM. 102.9 on the FM dial and whistlefm.com anywhere in the world. Fresh Waves is available on podcast too. Just go to whistlefm.ca or freshwaves.ca. We podcast all of the Fresh Waves shows so that you can listen at your leisure. Fresh Waves. It really is fresh.